awesome speed, aerodynamic steel, heart-wrenching tragedy, glorious victory. These are the insider views, close up and very personal. These are the high-performance people who clamor for life on the brink of disaster. The real stories from the source, the men who drive to be the best. These are the champions of the checkered flag. Every champion who gets to win the checkered flag does so his own individual way. The path is never easy. It is a path paved with heartbreak, surprising defeat, and sometimes tremendous sacrifices. The checkered flag is guarded by the agonies of physical exhaustion, roadblocks of mental stress, pitfalls of mechanical failure, sleepy stretches of lost concentration, or high-energy twists and turns of relentless competition. The checkered flag is attainable by only a select few who are equipped with a unique personal courage and unparalleled strength of character to carve a personal course toward victory. This is Geoff Bodine, one of the Winston Cup's most successful drivers. Why? Because he's a true racing professional. Bodine has won more different kinds of races in more different kinds of cars than many other drivers have ever raced in. He knows he is very good, and in racing, only the exceptional drivers survive to succeed. When you meet Bodine, you're immediately taken by his quiet grace and charm. He stands a little under 6 feet tall, with a slender yet powerful racer's build. This seemingly gentle man can bull a 3,600-pound, 600-horsepower race car through a field of 40 other competitive race cars over a 600-mile race course at an average speed of over 165 miles per hour. Once you realize this incomparable strength, the rigorous stamina, the ceaseless concentration, and the precision timing required to do this, you realize just what qualities it takes to be a complete champion like Bodine. This day, Geoff works on qualifying. In qualifying, the men and cars are in a pressure cooker world that seems about to explode. These cars are so expensive, with hand-built engines prepared so carefully, but still they often fail. They are very like thoroughbred racehorses. These are high-strung machines, tuned for maximum power and performance, and the drivers push them to their limits, and even past their limits.
There's a lot of pressure in this business, and it really shows. Probably, maybe I show it more than others. We're all different, but I show it a lot on qualifying day. I take a lot of pride in my qualifying efforts. I like to be fast. I like to be the #1 guy. And so qualifying morning is a pretty tense morning. I walk around thinking a lot. People say, well, smile, what's wrong? Well, I have trouble smiling and thinking at the same time. So I walk around with a straight face, and people say, well, maybe he's mad. What's wrong with him today? He's got up on the wrong side of the bed. It's just that I'm thinking, I'm concentrating. And you have to put 100% concentration into what you're going to do, and that's drive that race car. But we don't only concentrate about driving, we have to concentrate about, do we have the right springs in the car? Is the gear ratio right? So race day or qualifying day, it's pretty tense because we think, we concentrate, we're very intense at this business.
A race car driver of Bodine's caliber spends many intense days and hours preparing for a race. One great race driver once said, you never know how good you can get a race car to feel unless you try everything possible. And that's just what Geoff Bodine does. With his crew before a race, they try more weight. They lower this side and raise that side. Geoff then goes out for a practice lap. He picks up a little time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. His crew changes the springs or adjusts the chassis, making the car handle tighter or looser on the track. Some drivers get their car to a point of performance and stop, because they're afraid they'll fiddle with it too much and slow it back down. Not Bodine. He keeps fine-tuning as long as there's a little time left.
You practice for a number of reasons. One, to check your car out, check your engine out, and then to fine-tune your setup. And then as a driver, you're sitting in a seat feeling all this. You have to relate what you feel, what you know, what you can tell by the car to your crew to make adjustments if they need to be. You look at your stop clock, see how fast you're going. But the bottom line is the driver is the one that tells everyone we're okay, we're not okay. We need to try this, let's not. Practice, just lap time, track time is I think important to a driver because you're always trying to make adjustments for the car and with yourself, with your driving style that suits the track, the car, the setup, the weather conditions, whatever it might be. So the more you practice doing that, the better you should get. Now, it doesn't always relate that way. Some drivers just reach a level and that's where they go. I'm the kind of guy where I'm trying to move up the levels all the time. I put those goals in front of me to do better, to go faster. And the fast guys do that.
Famous racing journalist Ken Purdy says that the full terror and the full reward of this incredible game is given only to those who bring to the car the talent honed by obsessive practice, great skill, relentless competitiveness, and a high intelligence with extreme sensitivity.
When a race starts, when you crank that thing up and you take the green flag, you're worried, you're concerned about staying out of trouble. Because that's one time when things happen, a lot of things can happen. So you're really thinking, concentrating and watching everyone. Make sure nobody spins out in front of you. So then you get through that segment of the race. Then you start thinking about, well, how good am I going? What's the car doing? You're always trying to figure out what your car is doing, how well it's doing, what kind of adjustments you might need to make on a pit stop. Tell the crew, get ready, let's change this or try that. So you're always thinking about the car, the handling, track conditions, your competition, and then you've got to drive this thing. Then you've got to steer it, you've got to work the pedals, the gas, the brake, and find a groove on the track that suits your car best. And then if you ever get into a battle with somebody, now you're thinking about how to pass them. I mean, can you imagine how many things you have to think about in one lap? Thousands of decisions you make out here. And you can't call a timeout. You can't say, whoa, let's stop, let's regroup. I made a mistake, let's try it over. Once you commit yourself, that's where you go, that's where you're headed. No turning back. When things happen so fast on a racetrack, inside that race car, you don't have much time to think. And sometimes you have zero time to think. You react. And some drivers react better than others in accident situations, in traffic, in qualifying, and in that last lap, the last lap to the finish. Some guys react better than others. They make the right choices.
Some have called the road to the checkered flag Heartbreak Highway. It's littered with broken dreams, broken cars, and broken bodies. Bodine has survived the worst and come back stronger for it.
Accidents are part of this business. We as drivers accept that when we put this uniform on. We know the ultimate can happen. You can get killed in these race cars. We've had friends killed. We've had friends hurt. We've had friends that are still in hospitals that can't race again. We all accept that responsibility when we get in our car, but we concern ourselves with it. Now, I've had some pretty bad accidents myself. I have broken my right scapula and my shoulder twice at Talladega with blown tires. A tire blew, bang, you're in the wall. You hit the wall at 200 miles an hour, it hurts, it breaks something, and I broke my scapula twice. Had a bad wreck last year going into the end of the back straightaway corner at about 170 miles an hour on the last lap. Lost my brakes. Went to hit the brakes and the brake rotor blew apart. So I entered this corner that is normally taken probably around 70 or 80 miles an hour at about 150 miles an hour. Well, it didn't work. It didn't add up. I spun around and slammed into the wall, and just thank God that the track had prepared a safety barrier that absorbed the energy of the car, that speed, and didn't kill me. I stopped from 150 to 0 in about 12 feet. So the barrier worked, the car worked. I had a full face helmet on, that worked. I hit my face, eyes were black and blue, my forehead, I had a cut lip. But I lived and lived to tell about it. But that was probably the scariest accident I've ever had, because I had time to think up there, to think about the consequences, to tell myself, Bodine, you're going to get hurt this time. Just thank God I didn't.
Richard Petty, the king of stock car racing. Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Buddy Baker, Davey Allison. The field of competitors that Bodine must battle is unstoppable. But there are competitors out there that Bodine has some special feelings for.
I don't have a competitive feeling towards Brett. So when he started racing Winston Cup, when he started racing out there on the track with me, I had a problem. I said, I can't, I don't feel right racing against my little brother. I don't want to beat him, to make him feel bad. And I really had to deal with that problem. And of course, now that he's won a race, now that he has a great team that he's with, now that he whips me every once in a while in qualifying, that feeling's going away. Now I've got to go after my little brother and get him. But he never had a problem trying to beat his big brother. He thought that was a kick. Hey, man, if I can go beat Geoff, that's really doing something. Made me feel good. But and it gave him some inspiration, some desire to go out there and do better.
Geoff Bodine derives a quiet fortitude and vital stability from his most powerful, yet calming reinforcement, the treasured love and affection of his family.
See, I realized a little while back that I'm only going to be here for a little short while. Our lives are not that long, and time is going by. I'm sneaking on up in years. I see my boys growing up. I see the gray hairs that I get. And so I realized a while back that I need to enjoy what I'm doing or do something else. I needed to appreciate what I've got or quit worrying about what I've got. Don't try to be anyone else, just try to be yourself. And by doing that, I've enjoyed life a lot more. I enjoy my family a lot more, and they're number one. And it might not look it sometimes because of the time that this business takes, the energy, the amount of time I have to put into this business, but my family will always be number one. My boys, my wife, my mother, my father, everyone.
Also number one with Geoff is living stock car legend Junior Johnson, the owner of Geoff's racing team.
Junior Johnson knows what it takes to win in this kind of business. And he provides this team with everything we need to go out there and win. So it's kind of up to us to put it all together and make it work. But he provides us with the sponsorship, with the people, with the finances, with the equipment that we need to go out here and perform well. So you can't ask for anything more than that.
With a long string of spectacular victories, Bodine's career has had many high points.
I'll have to say there's two moments in my career, in my Winston Cup career, that will always be special. I mean, every time you win, every time you succeed, every pole you win, every lap you lead is great, and you remember most of that. But my first win at Martinsville, Virginia, my first ever Winston Cup win, that'll always be special, something I always remember. That's natural. But also, along with that, my 1986 Daytona 500 win is maybe even above that first win, because my career really started when I went to Daytona with my father, my sister, and my mother, and watched races there and dreamed about someday racing Daytona and winning. And so by winning the Daytona 500, really completed my dream, my goal, that dream I had as a kid, the dream that everyone said a little kid from Chemung, New York would never, ever be able to fulfill. And so 1986, February, will be a special month, special time, the Daytona 500. that really is the highlight of my career so far.
It is impossible to succeed in racing without a complete understanding of yourself. A champion race driver like Geoff Bodine has a complete understanding of his strengths, his abilities, and when to turn a race into a victory.
You can be struggling throughout the race and all of a sudden make the adjustment on a pit stop that makes the thing work really great. And you say, now I got something. Watch out, guys, here I come. And then there's times when you come right down to the last lap. North Wilkesboro was a good example of that last year. Running third, 1 lap to go. It didn't look like we were going to win that one. But 2 guys had a little problem, got together, bumped. I come around a corner, I'm leading the race, I win. Just unexpected victories. There's a lot of ways you can feel like you're going to win, or maybe you don't have a chance and you end up winning. Most of the time, even before you start the race, you like to have that feeling that I can win today. I mean, my car is good enough. You can tell through practice. It always doesn't work out that way. You make the first lap around here and you say, boy, I'm in trouble. This is going to be a long day. And then there's times when you say, well, we got a good chance today, but I don't know. When you crank it up and go, and boy, you know right away, this is the car that can win. Today could be the day.
The checkered flag has touched the fortunes of a young driver named Greg Sachs. Sachs has traveled a bumpy road to racing recognition. There have been several rough starts, beginning with a self-sponsored family endeavor.
Well, it's been a rocky road, It's been kind of like trying to get to that top of the ladder and falling down a rung every other year. Started out in '83 with a self-sponsored family endeavor with my dad and brother, where we come down here, we bought a bunch of cars and raced 4 or 5 races in 1983. Then I ran a full schedule in '84.
Greg stunned the racing world as a research and development driver for the Bobby Allison team. His moment came at the Firecracker 400 in 1985 that made all the struggling worthwhile.
As Sachs and Elliott have opened up a 3.5 to 4 second lead on the field. Current round trips of this raceway are being clocked at better than 193 miles per hour. And now Greg Sachs, a relative newcomer, challenging Bill Elliott for the lead in the Firecracker 400. And Sachs has moved in front. The 32-year-old from Manitowoc, Long Island has challenged the superstar Ford and has taken the lead. And now begins to muscle by Bill Elliott as they soar by the grandstand. How envious so many of the drivers in assembly here today must be of Greg Sachs, as he has done what they have been trying to do. Greg Sachs in front of Bill Elliott.
Well, we're real happy. This is an experimental car. We put a lot of new ideas in that we've always wanted to try, but it's a big gamble to try them on Bobby's number 22 car. Bobby Allison's car. Right. If it didn't work, we could go back further, but we were able to gamble, no sponsor to answer to. We were able to say, okay, the wildest thing we can think of, we're going to do on this car, and it looks like it's paying off.
Unexpectedly, Greg Sachs took the lead from superstar driver Bill Elliott. Greg showed the world his incredible driving talent. His abilities were noticed by many.
They're believing that they have this race won. Sachs' wife, Victoria, was there with her fingers crossed. Sachs now moving alongside Labonte. He certainly is making moves which indicate he believes he needs to finish in front of Labonte. The last lap of the Firecracker 400. Greg Sachs, without question, has removed some of the headline potential from Bill Elliott today. Labonte still in front of Greg Sachs. It would take the... Sachs is moving high alongside Labonte, way close to the wall. That definitely confirms it. There's no way Sachs would make such a move if he felt he was in front. And now, even in his own mind, Greg Sachs is the winner of the Firecracker 400. Sachs pulling into victory lane. Let's go now to see what Greg Sachs has to say about his superlative victory.
Well, we felt like we had a slight chance at him all day long. In the middle of the race, when I run in this draft, I was comfortable there.
We're just looking to watch him out, not show him what we had. I'm sure he wasn't showing us all he had. So we were looking to make it a run down to the wire.
All right, your car carries no sponsorship of any kind. It's said to contain a lot of secret speed ideas. What might be some of them now that you've used them to win?
Are you kidding me, Sam?
Greg drove hard through relationships and rides with a variety of owners and sponsors, including an association with Winston Cup veteran Buddy Baker. But finally, some serious recognition came to Sachs. It was when successful race car owner Rick Hendricks and noted actor Paul Newman spotted Greg's abilities. Hendricks needed a driver for the car he was putting together for the Paramount motion picture, Days of Thunder.
You know, a lot of people say, where did this team pop out of? It's actually a product of Days of Thunder, really. Believe it or not, this team never would have happened, I don't think, if it wasn't for my association with Days of Thunder and my opportunity to get working with the Hendrick Motorsports team out in Phoenix last fall when he needed a driver to go in and drive a car for the production. Got a great opportunity with great people, and I can go out and race to win. That's what it's all about. That's what I love, is the winning, the crowd reaction, the whole bit. You know, it's no fun when you're running in the back, you're struggling, you know, you don't have the applause of the crowd. Your friends want to know, well, what's the matter? Everybody wants to know, well, what happened? What's wrong now? And that gets to be like a broken record. I don't like to make excuses. I like to go out and perform.
Like the stars and crew of the movie, Greg gave 110% for the Paul Newman Rick Hendricks racing team. But being a winner merely begins with hard work and determination. It's what some call heart, or the fortitude that comes from within, that can really make a driver into a winner. For Greg Sachs, his winning attitude comes from his deeply personal, positive approach, combined with a dedication to be a team player.
To me, it's mental. The whole deal is mental. You need to be very positive. You need to have a lot of self-confidence, which I've never lacked. And I like to get with my guys, you know, and really talk about the car, go over what we've done, and we reinforce one another. Gary Dehart, Dennis Connors, and myself, the three of us sit down. Rick Hendrick plays a big part. We were sitting in the car yesterday going over what we were going to do with the chassis and all. And we reinforce each other's thoughts to know that we're on the right track, to know that we're going to get the best performance out of that car that we can.
From the grueling high speed, the discomfort of oven-like heat in the cockpit of a car, the threat of mechanical failure or mishap, and the pursuit from intense competition, Greg knows the reality of performing under pressure.
Your mood changes through the race, depending on the performance of the car, what lap it is. The closer you get to the end, the more pressure builds, especially if you're running strong. Down at Talladega a few weeks ago, we had one of the strongest cars there. Dale, Kenny Schrader, myself. The three of us could pretty much dominate the field. Through the whole first half, it was a blast. I was having a ball. A lot of fun. We were diced through the pack, putting guys' laps down, and really just totally enjoying yourself, and no pressure yet, because it didn't matter if Dale was first, Kenny was first, or I was first. We all had a common goal, and that's to put these guys' laps down and narrow the field, get it down to a 2 or 3 car race. Because you've got the other guys out of the way, then they're eliminated. They're no longer a factor. And now as it comes down to the end, all your emotions are starting to build. Do I want Dale first? Do I want to be second? You know, or do I want to lead? Do I want him to be second? Where am I going to make my move? Where's my car the strongest? And on top of that, when the most important time of the race comes around, it's the hardest time of the race because the fatigue is set in, the heat is set in. So you've got to keep your mind as sharp as you can and try and focus on the elements that are in hand. The last couple of years, I kind of lost sight of why I started racing. I started racing when I was 16 years old. It was fun. It's what I enjoyed to do. You know, I'd go out and work all week, get a few extra dollars, buy another new set of tires for my race car, you know, work all week on the car in the garage, and that's what we enjoyed doing, building the cars, working, racing, the camaraderie amongst your crew members. But when I moved down here from New York to pursue a career in Winston Cup racing, it became a financial gain, not something that I was enjoying doing. It was something that I was doing just for financial reasons. And this year, things have changed. I've changed my attitude. The operation with Ultra Slim Fast and Newman Hendrick is really started out on a race-to-race basis, and I'm just going out to race and do my best job.
But in the world of racing, doing your best job means handling the unexpected. And often the unexpected is devastating.
Rolling down the racetrack, that's the number 48 car, Greg Sachs. Looks like Lake Speed also involved. Greg Sachs' car on its top, however, we can see some movement inside the cockpit. We believe there's a small fire burning in the engine compartment. There's Greg crawling out from under that car. That a boy, Greg, get out of there. It's always good to see a driver come out of a crash of that sort. He doesn't have a helmet on. He probably had to take it off to climb out. Now he's going back to help Lake Speed. Here's a replay as he went into turn 1. He was on the outside, and it looks like Lake Speed might have lost an engine. At least he lost the car, and Greg hit him, and they both hit towards that wall. Greg hit it hard with the right front.
I thought it was never going to stop, and I was just hoping to God that another car wouldn't hit me, let's say in a roof or something. And, you know, I could see the fire. Then once it did stop, of course, you know, fate would have it to be on your roof. And the oil was running right down under me. I don't know if you saw me shaking my hand when I got out, because when I had to brace myself to take my belts off, I had to put my hand down in the hot oil. And, you know, that window opening only looked like it was about 6 inches, but I come out of there like a snake. First thing I did was look up, and I could see that there was no traffic coming. And I looked at Lake's car, and I could see that he was sitting in, and he was still. So I wanted to get right down there and see how he was doing. And he spoke to me right away. He wasn't unconscious or anything at any time. He was doing fine. I could help him get his steering wheel off, and then disconnected his radio and that stuff, and said he wanted his helmet off, so I helped him get that off. And right from the beginning, he told me he felt like he might have broke his shoulder blade. Just not to move him. He's going to need some help to get out of the car.
The fire that was in the engine compartment, probably a carburetor broke, and some of the fuel that was in the carburetor came out.
A man with honest courage. Greg Sachs possesses an open and receptive attitude toward constantly challenging himself. Improving his craft with every lap. Growing stronger with every straightaway. Challenging his limits with every turn.
See, when we come out to a track, I like to say that I'm going out and I'm racing to win every day. I come to the track with the idea to win. You need to take the best you can for that day. If your car's capable, I'm going all the way. I'm taking every chance I can to win that race. I don't like to make excuses. I like to go out and perform.
Greg Sachs is a winner in every race he runs. His spirit soars when he's driving. His mind logs experience after experience, race smarts and cunning. With each race, he bolsters his ability and strengthens his team's qualities to evolve into a true champion of the checkered flag.